I am Monsignor Landry, National Director of the Pontifical Mission Societies in the United States, coming to you from the Bethany Retreat Center in the Diocese of St. Petersburg, Florida. It is Monday, April 20th. We get the third of 8 parts of Jesus' annual Easter season Eucharistic mystagogy or catechesis about the Holy Eucharist, in which we are called to meet Jesus in his risen body, blood, soul, and divinity, even every day, and to meet him not just in the outside, but in the inside. The first 2 sessions, we remember, multiplication of loaves and fish, and then Jesus walking on water and remedying the fears of his disciples. Do not be afraid, it is I. Jesus gets to Capernaum with the disciples. There were already a bunch of those who had eaten of the multiplied loaves and fishes the previous day there, waiting for him. They noticed that Jesus hadn't gotten into the boat with the other disciples, but he had arrived there nevertheless. And so they begin with a question of curiosity. Rabbi, when did you get here? And then Jesus wants to take them much deeper right off the bat. That's what he seeks to do in Easter with this mystagogy, or this teaching from within the mysteries, literally in Greek. Jesus says, you are seeking me not because you have seen the signs, but because you have eaten your fill of the loaves. In other words, you're not trying to get an explanation of the meaning of this great miracle I just did. You're just looking for another free meal. And then he tells a lapidary, an absolutely essentially important statement for us in our life. He says, do not work for the food that perishes, but for the food that endures to eternal life that the Son of Man will give you. So many of us work so hard to put food on the table for ourselves and for our families. A lot of people live to work. And Jesus says, don't work for perishable foods, which are pretty much all earthly foods. Work instead, labor for the food of eternal life that the Son of Man will give you. Work harder than Rudy did to make the Notre Dame football team, or an Olympian works to make and win a gold. Work harder than a 23-year-old on Wall Street tries to make a Christmas bonus. Work harder than a man in love works to win the consent in the hand of somebody he wants to be his bride for the rest of his life. Work for the food that endures to eternal life. How hard do we work for the Eucharist? Do we make this the real goal of our entire existence? Do we strive for it? Jesus himself suffered and died in order to give us his flesh and blood. How much do we work for that same gift? In everything I'll ever preach to you, I'm a hypocrite with one exception. When I recognized as an 18-year-old freshman in college that the Eucharist really is God, I had never disbelieved it, but the consequences hadn't really struck me yet. I made a resolution from the next day that I would try to receive Jesus every day. That day was September 24th, 1988. And from that day until today, by God's grace, I've never once missed receiving Jesus in Holy Communion. I do work very hard to eat that food that Christ gives and to align my whole life to it. That's what the church is asked to do, to really labor, to do whatever it takes in order to live a truly Eucharistic life. And that's what missionaries try to make possible, bringing not just the words of the gospel, but the sacraments of baptism and Holy Communion to the ends of the earth, so that everybody is able to live off this food that comes from heaven. We thank the Lord for his Eucharistic gift. More on this mystery tomorrow. God bless you.